Alright, we're back on gaming, and I want to say this right now, okay? I have a number of things to announce for you guys and girls when it comes to games, and I got some things I want to discuss with you as well when it comes to the future of this channel. I have a couple of ideas. We will talk about this near the end of the video, okay? Also, I want to say this right now, alright? I'm not going to, talk too much about the SJW stuff, but we do need to start off with one thing, and that's the only thing we're going to talk about today when it comes to this type of stuff, and I want to talk about Polygon. That's right, for those who don't know, Polygon says that they want to improve the reputation of gamers and gaming in general, and they're going to tell us how to start it. I find this hilarious. You want to know why? Because Polygon, once again, you are still not looking in the mirror. You do realize, Polygon, what you do actually hurts the reputation of gaming in general, right? And gamers. You have jumped on this wagon where this is misogynist and this is sexist and blah, 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 blah. And you know what's very hypocritical about this? Because if you look at that screen I showed you, that picture, you know, they want to improve the reputation of gaming and everything's misogynist. But did you see the ad on the right side? Did you see the ad? Come on, you aren't fooling anyone. All you gotta do is look in the mirror and start with yourself. Don't tell me that you're going to tell everyone, this is how things can be changed, this can be changed for the better. You do realize, Polygon, places like you, Kotaku, and you know, when you clickbait for articles and things of that nature, this is the reason why you are blacklisted by the community. Not to mention when you leak stuff that shouldn't be leaked, this is why you're blacklisted by the companies as well. So for you to come out and say that you have the, you have the idea, or should I say, you're going to, because you say this is how you start. So you're telling people how it can start, all right? No one wants to hear what you have to say, all right? That's what it comes down to. You know what? Matter of fact, it's not no one wants to hear what you have to say. No one needs to hear what you have to say on this issue. You've burned that bridge a very long time ago, okay? So let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about fighting. That's right. We get back to the fighting games. You know how we go in order. We start with the fighting games. I got some news for you as well. Okay, Pokken, WiiU release date has been announced. So for everyone who's looking forward to this Pokemon fighter, the link will be in the info bar for you, okay? That's one announcement. Also, Blazblue, Central Fiction Arcade adds Izanami as a playable character. That's right, so another character's been added for Blazblue. If you're Blazblue fans, I'm sure you're going to, for what I've seen so far, looks like a promising character. We will see more in the future with the character. Also, MKX is getting better online. That's right, it's getting better online. So what you thought, they're just going to update it all. No, it's an actual beta you have to sign up for in order to get better online. This is what Boone tweeted out to everyone on Twitter. Now, when this news was announced, it was almost like a 50-50, but when I was looking at stuff, because it was two extremes. People were saying, well, it's about damn time, the game has been out for so long, and now you're deciding to fix it. And then you had people who were absolutely pissed. I mean, they were just like, this should have been done a long time ago. What do you mean I got to sign up for a beta to get better online connection? What is wrong with you? And here's the thing. You should know when it comes to them testing servers and things of that nature, they always beta test first. Okay, so for everyone who's just calm down, okay? They always beta test first, the servers to see if it works, to stress the servers to see if it will go well. I know a lot of people are very upset about this because they feel as though they shouldn't have to sign up for a beta to get better online for a product they already bought. I understand that completely, but this is how the companies do things when it comes to beta testing and things for online stress testing and things of that nature. They always go into a beta form. To have people try and sign up, I understand you shouldn't have to. But this is just one of those things that it really is a 50-50. But what I've seen on online on Twitter, there's a lot of gamers who are very upset about this because, like I said, even though people are praising them and people are hating this because they're saying I shouldn't have to sign up, one thing they both have in common, they're saying this should have been done a very long time ago. Okay, now in more Mortal Kombat news, you gotta be kidding me. I told y'all this was going. You know what? Y'all sent me this on Twitter saying, "Event, you said it was going to happen, and now it's going to happen, and you should be proud of yourself, but they'll never give you the credit." It is what it is. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, Mortal Kombat XL. That's right. For those who don't know what that is pretty much a Game of the Year edition being announced. Yes, I'll put the link in the info bar. The announcement includes all characters and skin packs from Mortal Kombat X. So pretty much Game of the Year edition confirmed. Okay? Now, for those who don't have this game, I would say now is your chance to buy it. Now you should be able, you should go out and get it because the game is really good. It is very entertaining. But you can't tell me you didn't see this coming. Okay? And anybody who's played any type of NetherRealm games, whether it's Injustice, whether it's the other Mortal Kombats, or just WB games in general, where you're playing Batman or whatever, you know they always come out with a Game of the Year edition. You know this. Okay? So every time that, one of these games come out, they say, oh, that's hot, I gotta have it right now. And I'm like, if you just wait, they're gonna come out in the Game of the Year edition. But I don't want to wait. I'm gonna buy these combat packs. I'm gonna buy these fatalities. I'm gonna buy this. And I'm thinking to myself, Game of the Year edition's still coming. And now it's here. Just saying. Okay? Let's move on. Street Fighter V. Let's talk about Capcom real quick. Yeah, we got to talk about Capcom. Alright? Street Fighter V gets a 3 gigabyte PS4 update, just to let you know, alright? For those who are in the beta, like I said, once again, stress testing, things of that nature, okay? Also, in 2016 will be the year of greater heights, says Capcom's executive, right? I find that funny, Capcom, because when you're saying this, and I'll put the link in the info bar, a writer reviews Resident Evil 0 HD, absolutely destroys it. Even other outlets that I've read reviews from, they're saying, the game is kind of fun still, but they didn't do much for this game. So I'm thinking to myself, just how bad is this game? Because if this is about being greater heights, it shouldn't be that much of a problem, right? But then Capcom, and this is where I gotta go, Capcom! What were you thinking doing a Resident Evil 0 remake, alright, or a remaster, and adding DLC into the process? So is this what we do these days, Capcom? We remaster games or remake games and add DLC to it? See, this is why people should have just kept the GameCube version. This is exactly why. Because you've got to be kidding me that you're going to sit here and gouge people this way. Now, granted, they're costume packs. It's cosmetic. I get it. But do you see the price on it? That is half the damn game. The price-wise, you've got to be kidding me. Look, I put it like this. You don't have to buy that, but I understand people saying, look, when things like this happen, all right, it feels as though I'm not getting my full game still. And I can understand that, you know what I mean? There's no reason for this to happen. It really isn't. Capcom, you want to go on and talk about how you listen to the fans. I don't even want to hear that anymore. You're still gouging for no reason. You should be ashamed of yourself. But in more Capcom news, let's talk about right now, okay? The next Dead Rising will use the Unreal Engine. Does anyone really care? Maybe you do. I don't know. Personally, I don't. Don't get me wrong. These Dead Rising games, they're really fun, especially when you have friends you can play online with in co-op, and you can make all these cool things. But using the Unreal Engine, I don't think that that's anything that anyone's really going to be like, oh, people were having fun with what you already had. Didn't matter if you had Unreal Engine or not. So I'm sure people are still going to, still have fun. But regardless, whatever. I just don't think that it really needs to be announced. You know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from. I don't think it needs to be announced. I mean, granted, it's good information for you, but they almost announce it as if, oh, that's going to be the seller. Like, oh, we got an Unreal Engine. Oh, it's going to be great. And I'm thinking to myself, people had a ball with the last one. You know what I mean? So I don't, or just in the previous, iterations of the game in general. As long as you can keep creating weapons and things of that nature, I don't think it matters if you have the Unreal Engine. Just saying. I want to move on, and I want to talk about esports. Now, we've always talked about esports here, and how players need to have contracts and things of that nature. ESPN is getting serious now. I guess since Activision has announced their thing. ESPN is getting serious about their esports division. They actually have a new logo, and they're going to make it a big deal, and they're trying to get all these people together. And here's my thing. ESPN, I understand that you want to have an esports division, because at this point, there's no arguing that it's going to happen, or that you should be for or against it. I think we're past that by now, whether you're for or against. This is going to happen regardless, you know what I mean? But here's the thing, ESPN, alright? You're not thinking outside the box. Because, as usual, all they're doing is doing what ESPN does best. There's nothing original about ESPN. What are they doing? They're going to go to other places and just, and just commentate. That's all it's going to be. They're going to have, guys who, I guess, they're going to start doing like ESPN and having their own little shows and things of that nature. I'm thinking to myself, ESPN, this is a good chance for a major network like yourself to hold your own esports. Just saying. Actually have trophies and things of that nature. You can hold your own type of, dare I say, benefit. You can even do it for charity if you want to. I would love to see you get your anchors together and play video games, and see how that goes. We all know it wouldn't really go well, but still, the point is, you can make this bigger than what it needs to be. You know what I mean? You can have your own specials. You have, like, the SBs and things of that nature. You can have your own specials in this. But it doesn't seem like that's what you're doing right now, because as the report states, you're just going from place to place to place just to report it. That's pretty much what you're doing. And you're hiring people to write, and you're hiring people to analyze and things of that nature. That's what you're doing. You're actually not putting your footprint into this thing. So, it's pretty much a carbon copy to what you already have. It's just it's backed by a larger network. That's all it is. And as we all know, people, even if ESPN does this, I think still the majority of gamers, they're so used to watching things on the computer or going to a stream or whatever, they're going to watch it on the stream because that's how the culture is. They're going to watch it on the stream before they say, I'm going to turn on ESPN and watch this. You know what I mean? Unless, of course, these outlets of esports like MLG and things of that nature, they decide, to put out the tweet, you should watch this on this channel, blah, blah, blah. And I can guarantee you there's still going to be people, even though we should be past it, we're still going to see people in the future say, I just turned on ESPN and this shit is on and I don't want to see this and this has nothing to do with the sports. We should be past that by now. But speaking of more sports, Halo 5. That's right. Halo 5 tournament will be featured at X Games this year. Now, to be honest, I still don't understand how video games are an extreme sport as opposed to the other things that you see at X Games. All right? But I will say that I would rather watch Halo 5 tournament than to watch the Call of Duty tournament. I'm just saying. I would rather watch Halo than Call of Duty. But, once again, when Halo happens, and I'm telling you now, people are going to say it, why aren't there any fighting games here? We're going to see a lot of people ask why aren't there other genres in the X Games. So, get ready for that. Just brace yourselves for that, okay? Also, since we were just talking about remasters not too long ago, Final Fantasy 12 Remaster has been teased by Prima's strategy guide. Now, here's the thing. I didn't think they still made these strategy guides. I'm just saying. I know the company was still, in business. I mean, you gotta think. When you can get all this information off of, a fact or a walkthrough or whatever, you know what I mean? They've been doing it. You gotta think. That's how it started. You know what I mean? The strategy guys began to become too much. They when it comes to price-wise, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, back in the day, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, the strategy guys were cool because they gave you a number of pictures, they told you where to go, blah, 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 but they were also very expensive. And we also saw gamers who couldn't afford that type of stuff. At one point, a friend would buy a strategy guide, and then if they had the same game, if they couldn't borrow the book, they would be Xeroxing everything off the book, you know what I mean, copying. They would take it to the store and Xerox the stuff. And then if that didn't work, that's when we started seeing people go online and get walkthroughs and things of that nature. That's how GameFAQs got big, okay? But we'll see what happens. I mean, I just didn't think that this was still a thing, but okay. Don't get me wrong. Still happy that the old school press is around like that. You know what I mean? Those type of natures, but still. And some bad news, and we're going to get into some bad news right now. And a lot of people are very upset about this. Square Enix, I should say. I really, Square hasn't been the same since they tacked on Enix. They really haven't. But Hitman is now going to be released episodically, and people are pissed. Hitman fans are upset. And here's the thing, all right? Because there's already a report about Hitman won't be the last episodic release for Square Games. And they go on to say, well, if you're looking at what's going on, Life is Strange was episodic. They're doing Final Fantasy VII. The remake will be episodic, which I think is a little much of a stretch because, as you know, you're going to get a full game with that. You know what I mean? With all those different episodes, a big-time game with that. That's pretty vast for what we're hearing so far. So I wouldn't really count that as episodic, really. But, you know what I mean? We'll see what happens with it. But Life is Strange, they say, look, if you look at these numbers and people buying them, and we talked about this last week, did we not? About how people don't want certain things, but companies are looking at numbers and saying, well, regardless of what you're saying, I'm seeing sales from this, and we're going to keep doing it. This is the case again. This is another example, okay? But speaking of Life is Strange, Square Enix starts a Life is Strange anti-bullying campaign. I don't have a problem with the campaign as much as I have a problem with companies all of a sudden taking this stance that, anti-bullying is wrong, when a lot of these companies, all right, where even if Square wasn't involved, they stood by and watched these fanboy wars go for years and years, all right? People cursing each other out and carrying on simply because of what product they bought. And people were being bullied, they were being dogpiled, and the industry sat back like, we making money. We don't care. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to have a campaign to show that we care and things of that nature. And I feel like this, like I said, even if you weren't in the heart of it, and as we know, Square was still part of a specific console at the time, until they went multi-plat. But You have to understand, when you're sitting on the sidelines and you're seeing this and you don't say anything, you're just as guilty, man. You're just as guilty. Seriously, at any time throughout those years, any company could have came out and said, this is wrong. And none of them did. None of them. They didn't care. Now all of a sudden we got to have these campaigns. Alright, whatever. Anyways, let's move on to more Square Enix news. This may upset some people. I don't know. Square Enix were convinced consoles were dying before the PS4 and the Xbox One. Yeah, they came out and said that. They thought that consoles were dying. So if consoles were dying, Square, okay, if that's what you want to, go with, then why did you, take Sony's help on Final Fantasy? To bring it to the PS4 and things of that nature. If consoles are dying, you wouldn't have been worried about that, right? You would have been focused more on PCs, because if you felt that it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, right? Or you would have made everything multiplat if that was the case, so that you would cover all your bases. But you didn't do that, did you? Oh, wait, I forgot. When you did release stuff on the PC, and it was a buggy, glitchy mess, you never fixed it anyway, and you let the fans fix it for you. Yeah. Okay, Square. Yeah. But you felt as though consoles were dying. So, are your games still coming out in consoles? Are they? Okay, shut the fuck up. Anyways, I want to talk about a game right now that actually looks really well. Survival horror. And I think this one is going to do some justice to the PT universe. That's right, because for what like I said, I'll put a link in the info bar. For what I've seen so far, this is a straight successor, as opposed to Allison Road. Taking what Silent Hills did. They're saying that this game right here is a straight successor to Silent Hills PT. That's right. And for those who have not seen it, you know what? Let's look at the alpha footage. That's right, gameplay footage of Visage. that looks pretty good. And I put it like this. So far, what we know about the story of this game, you're a person who wants to visit haunted houses. That's right. That's what this plot is. All right, so you go from house to house to house to wherever. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. Of course, you got to go at night. All right, and you go by yourself. I don't know why you got to go by yourself, but you go by yourself, all right, to these haunted houses. And all these haunted houses, so-called haunted houses, families have been, like, slaughtered, have been killed in these houses. So you're pretty much going into abandoned houses at night to investigate what's going on, all right? Now, you know, if you're a horror buff, or if you want to use common sense, you wouldn't have a game anyway. You say, that's a haunted house? People been killed in there? Okay, well, I'm not going in there. I'll talk to y'all later. And that would be the game. You know what I mean? That would be the end of the game. But this is horror. You should know your cues. You should know when they're trying to build some type of jump scare. You should know when they're trying to build suspense. So, like I said, this is one of those games where if you follow along with it and you just play along with it and get sucked into the moment, I'm sure it can be fun. Here's the kicker. This is the so-called added bonus that we've heard so far with this game. Alright? This game will be compatible with VR. That's right. So, Oculus Rift, I guess PlayStation VR, whatever it's coming out for, as we know, Steam Greenlight, things of that nature. So, I'm sure we're going to see a number of Let's Plays come around with people who have the Oculus and they're trying to play, and I can see it now. Oh my god, what's going on? And they're going to freak out. So, get ready for that. I'm sure that'll be really fun, you know, to watch as well. So, yeah, that's what we know about this game so far. I'll be keeping up on it. It looks really fun. You know what I mean? It seems like they really do a good job. And, you know, you got to think, that's an alpha build. An alpha build, so I can only imagine what the finished product's going to look like. Let's move on. Speaking of finished products, the Xbox 360, that's right, for those who remember that, alright? The 360 scratch disc lawsuit is now being heard by the Supreme Court. It's getting real. It's getting real. And like I said, but here's the thing, even though it's still a lawsuit and things of that nature, at least Microsoft, in this entire time when it comes to Red Rings, like I said, they've always taken, you know, responsibility. This one will be interesting to see how it plays out. Okay? So let's move on. Let's talk about more consoles. That's right, because they're dying, right? Square, they're dying. Let's talk about Sega. That's right, this new Dreamcast that's coming out, Project Dream or whatever. Now, we talked about this not too long ago, okay? And a lot of people were very excited. We've seen other gamers say that, you know, they don't believe it's going to happen. Well, here's an update for you, right? The UI prototype for Sega's new limited console is been released, alright? I'll put the link in the info bar so you can see what it looks like. This looks like this is really going to happen at this point. It really does. And as far as I'm concerned, I understand it's a limited console release, but then that makes me wonder just how far this is going to go. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they're going to support this for a very long time, this is why I say limited console, because we don't know what's going to happen. But if you support this for a very long time, Sega, I'll buy it day one. I will buy it day one. A lot of us have been waiting for another Dreamcast. But of course, we got to see what you're armed with. And what I mean by that is what games you're bringing to it. No one's going to buy a console and then it has nothing on it. You know what I mean? But if you have PC gamers in mind, then I also have to figure out what type of specs this console has. Can you replace the hard drive and things of that nature? Because you're saying it is a console, but we already know that you said that this has PC gamers in mind. So we should be able to upgrade this as much as possible, for the future and what will be supported with this console. That's the big thing that you have to bring to the table. So we'll see what happens with this, but that's the update so far. The UI interface has been released. Okay? Let's move on to more Sega news. Yakuza 6. That's right. The demo is coming with Yakuza on the PS4 and PS3 remake. Get this. In Japan. Yeah. Ain't that something? We'll see what happens in the future. Maybe they will bring it to the West. We don't know. Let's talk about Nintendo. That's right. Nintendo is deleting Super Mario Maker courses without telling creators. I feel that's absolutely wrong. They're saying that if your course is not up to snuff, if it's not popular enough, because that's what they're saying, if it's not popular enough, they will delete your course. Now look, it does say in the manual that this will happen, so I've seen a lot of people get a little outraged by it, and I guess we never thought that it would happen. I understand that they have specific server rooms, so they can only hold but so much, but you got to be kidding me. That the thing is, they're deleting this stuff without notifying people. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. You know what I mean? But that's something that, of course, needs to be talked about with more with Nintendo. It seems like the relations with online in general with Nintendo, they still have a lot to iron out with gamers, with the community in general. I would love to see more communication between Nintendo and gamers, because for you to just delete courses and just be like, yeah, we didn't tell you, oh well. What? Like, seriously, you could just send them an automated message telling them, look, your course is not, up to snuff or whatever. You should give them a window to say, hey, you can update this and make it better so that it can get popular before we decide to delete it. You know what I mean? Give you X amount of days, maybe 30 days or something like that. But instead, Nintendo's just like, nope, delete. We didn't tell you. So when you go back and look, of course, like, hey, where the hell's it at? Yeah, ain't that something? So that's something that Nintendo has to work on. Communication is the key. It is. Let's move on about more Super Mario Maker. For those who don't know, Daisy's costume is in action. That's right. I'll put the link in the info bar for those who have not seen the costume. Remember, for those who have not been on Super Mario Maker for a while, there is a free download. So go download it, please. Also, more Nintendo news. We gotta talk about Zelda. That's right. Zelda Twilight Princess HD has new dungeon unlocked by using an amiibo. So, physical DLC like we thought was going to happen. Really, Nintendo? Really? So now you have to buy an amiibo to unlock something in the game. Now you're getting greedy. It's one of those things where it was like, you know, you got your amiibo member. A lot of people bought amiibos for different things, power-ups and things of that nature, and that's what they're doing. Now you're using it to unlock specific parts in a game. So even though if we buy your game, we're still not getting the full thing unless we go buy that amiibo. That is absolutely, that's Nintendo, that's the wrong way to go about things. It really is. But in more news with Zelda, okay? Zelda Twilight Princess HD Hero Mode is confirmed. That's right. Also, in more Zelda news, alright? A street artist makes and hides replica artifacts around Austin, Texas. That's right, of Zelda. So, let's see exactly what this street artist is making and leaving around, you know, just in the area. I'll put the link in the info bar where they actually issue a warning to those in Austin, Texas saying, be on the lookout for treasure chests because if you bump into this stuff, you open it up, you can get all this stuff for free and you can take it home with you. I think that's actually pretty cool as far as I'm concerned. So there's that. Also, I want to talk about Bayonetta 2. This is kind of odd, alright? Because for those who don't know, Bayonetta 2 standalone re-release hits retail stores on February 9th. You know, I put it like this. I bought my copy of Bayonetta 2. Of course, it came with Bayonetta 1 as well. I bought my copy when it first came out, okay? So, I didn't know that it was having this much of a problem. I didn't know it was being discontinued, should we say? Because gamers are saying, I've been to place, you know, this place or this place or this place, and I can't find a game. I didn't think this game would be that hard to find. Did they make a limited edition of these things? Like, what's going on here? I had no idea, alright? But, as you know, February 9th, it's coming back out. So, for those who have not had the joy, and I'll say that, the joy, the experience of playing Bayonetta 2, by all means, please, play Bayonetta 2. It is a great game, alright? Also, let's move on to more Platinum news, because, for those who don't know, Platinum Games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we've talked about this before, but the screenshots are now available. And you know what? It looks like Transformers Devastation. We will see what happens with this game. It looks pretty damn good already. I'll put the link in the info bar so you can see the screenshots, okay? Also, in more news, for Dark Souls fans, for those who don't know, Dark Souls comic book is coming in April. So maybe this will flesh out the story? We don't know. I mean, if you think about it, if you go back to all the Souls games and you play in the game, you think to yourself, well, it doesn't have much of, that was one of the complaints. It doesn't have much of a story, and a lot of us were like, who cares? Kill shit. Get your stuff. But if you go back and you actually read the dialogue between, you know, your character and these, you know, these NPCs and things of that nature, there is a story. There is. You know, maybe the comic book will flesh it out. We'll see what happens in the future. Alright? Also, The Division. Let's talk about The Division. We're starting to see a lot of hype surrounded by The Division. And this article I'll put in here, this person writes to say it's comparable to Destiny because it's an has RPG elements in a shooter. Now, I'll put it like this. For what we've seen, Ubisoft has partnered up with famous YouTubers to bring a 4-hour series and things of that nature. Like, they're really pushing The Division. However, here's the problem I've seen with The Division, and I'll put the video in the info bar, because we've seen a comparison video of what The Division looked like back at E3 as opposed to now. And it looks like they're giving you less quality now than they did with the E3 tech demo. We're seeing this again. Remember, we saw this with Watch Dogs as well. So once again, Ubisoft, you're not fooling anyone this time around. You may have got people with Watch Dogs, but I don't think you're going to get anybody with The Division this way. You're doing a disservice to your product. And this is going to make fans walk away as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Also, in Undertale news, I don't know if anyone's a fan of Undertale here, but fans are recreating Undertale, but in 3D. That's right. That's all the news I really have. Now I want to get to these announcements, okay? Let's talk about these announcements. First off, I want to say that Elgato has just now put out an update for the recording software. For those that don't understand what happened, I and many of us complained last time with Elgato not too long ago. They put out an update, and it completely crashed the recording cycle. It glitched up everything. It froze up everything. It's why I stopped recording The Walking Dead or any other game in the future. I said, you know what? Until this is fixed, I'm not going to be able to record anything because the Elgato, the way it's messed up. So now, and like I said, a lot of people agree because they were having the same problem. So it wasn't just me, you know what I mean? This is something on the company's end. Now they put out a new update. So what I'll do is after this, I'll test it and see if it works. And if it tests on a game and it runs smoothly, we'll get back to, recording games, okay? Gameplay and having fun with that as well, because I feel as though we are very long overdue to finish The Walking Dead and Resident Evil. It should have been done already. These games should have been finished by now. We should be moving on to other things. So I'll probably put out a test game and see if it works really well, and if it does, then, I'll upload it and see how people, react and see if it actually works and it's smooth, and then we'll get back on it, okay? Also, the other announcement I have, I've been toying with this for a while now, and it has to do with the channel. But I'm thinking about, and I don't want to alienate anyone here, but I've been thinking about getting rid of sports videos and making this channel a full-time video game channel. I've been thinking about it for a while now, you know what I mean? And I don't want to alienate my sports fans, but for what I've seen in the previous, I'm going to say 2 years, if that, I've seen more ridiculous trolling and idiotic behavior from sports fans as opposed to gamers. I have, and here's the thing. With gamers, when they talk shit to each other, at least they can play each other in a game. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Sports fans, they just talk shit and then they don't show up to do anything. You know what I mean? It's getting to the point where it's becoming taxing. And as you saw with just a sports video I put up this week, it was blocked. It actually had a double copyright, but Showtime Sports took away their copyright. So now the EPO is just holding me up. The video will be up. It's in dispute. But, over a 5-second clip. Over a 5-second clip of a guy laying on the ground. Yeah, no game, no play being shown or anything. Just a 5-second clip. And that really pisses me off. But, it's fine. Like I said, it's in dispute. I'm sure I wouldn't dispute anyway, like I've done with the other ones. But the fact is, this is something that I've been still thinking about. So I just want to gauge the fans first and see how they feel about things. And like I said, I really don't want to alienate my sports fans because they are real cool people. They haven't done anything wrong. You know what I mean? They're nice people. I just don't know how I feel about it just yet. You know what I mean? So if anything, you get a gaming video or you get 2 gaming videos and maybe some gameplay. That's what I would do. Or gaming, game video, stream, gameplay. I was thinking about going back to animation or doing movie reviews, which I really wanted to do. But given how the sports videos are happening and how they're being copyrighted, because I would use content, even though it's in fair use, okay? I would use that content, to talk about, and break down reviews of movies or animation, things of that nature. But as you see, I use it now, and then they try to get you and try to stop you. So, it's one of those things. I don't know. I really don't have much of a problem with game videos, though. They're pretty, lenient when it comes to using, footage and things of that nature that I show you. So, I'm thinking, like I said, it's not official yet. I'm still talking about it, mulling over it with people. And I want to talk about with you, the community. Like I said, if it happens, it'll be in the future, in the distant future. You know what I mean? It'll be this year, probably, if it happens. But it will be later in the year or something like that. You know what I mean? It depends. It really depends. Unless something really pisses me off and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. All games. You know what I mean? It really depends. Anyways, I'm done for today. Hopefully we talked about enough stuff and we discussed enough stuff. Also, I want to say that I want to thank you guys and girls for still being here and watching these things. And you're having great discussions in the comment section as well. I want to say as though, I'm going to, like I said, since Elgato has put their stuff up, I'm going to get back to it as much as possible. We will see what happens. Like I said, I will test it, actually, right after I'm done this video. So I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Next week, we'll have some more stuff. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I'm sure for the things I've seen already, we're going to have more things to talk about. That's just like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.